A new wave of H1N1 flu hits the mainland fiercely, with reports of multiple children passing away. Starch person disease emerges in China. Chongqing reports first diagnosis. Funds are flowing out of China. China's Shandong-class aircraft carrier is lurking in the southeastern waters of Taiwan, and experts say it's tantamount to suicide. It's all covered in today's China Truths. A new wave of H1N1 flu hits the mainland fiercely, with reports of multiple children passing away. Since March, China has been experiencing a new wave of influenza A, which has resulted in an increase in cases across several provinces and cities. Children have been hit the hardest, which is why schools in places like Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Foshan, and Zhuhai in Guangdong province have had to close. Hospitalizations of children have increased more than 4 times, and there have been alarming reports of multiple deaths related to influenza A infection among children. According to the Vision Times, the question "Why can a cold still take someone's life?" on Zhihu, a Chinese Q&A platform, has recently triggered a flurry of responses from netizens. On March 27, the Zhihu account Still Call Her E posted an article stating that her 3-year-old sister was taken to the hospital for H1N1 flu treatment, and the doctor recommended hospitalization, but the child's grandmother thought it was unnecessary and brought her home. The little girl passed away that same night, and her funeral was held in the past few days. The post stated, "You tell me why a cold can take someone's life. It's because of ignorance." On April 6, the Twitter account Jess reported that a parent group had been spreading news in recent days about the death of a 3rd-grade student in Ningbo due to H1N1 flu. Despite warm weather and blooming flowers, the flu appears to be lingering, with occasional deaths even in older children without high-risk factors, which often go unreported and unanalyzed. According to the article, a school announcement confirmed that a 3rd-grade student had died from H1N1 flu after treatment didn't work. Right now, family members are gathering at the school gate, and police are keeping order at the entrance. Chat content suggests that the child had a fever for 2 days, felt better, went on a spring outing, and then returned with a high fever that did not subside. Previously, on April 3, the Twitter account Nanguan Xiaoxiang posted a video warning that the mortality rate of H1N1 flu should not be underestimated, especially for households with elderly people and children. It is a matter of life and death, not a game. The video includes a message about a 5-year-old child who passed away just 5 days after developing a fever. The post concludes, "Every parent can understand this pain. Not only children, but many reports indicate that adults also die from influenza A infection." On the 7th, the Twitter account at Yinglighting 2018 posted news from Sichuan that a colleague in his 40s had died suddenly due to myocarditis caused by the H1N1 flu. Another internet user from Jiangxi claimed that 120 took him away while he was unconscious due to myocarditis and stomach bleeding for the first time in his life. On March 3, the Twitter account at Cayenne_1 posted a video demonstrating the overcrowding at Yibin Hospital in Sichuan as a result of a serious H1N1 flu outbreak. Patients receiving infusions were packed together, even spilling outside the hospital room. Some netizens question whether this H1N1 flu is a variant of COVID-19. However, the Vision Times cannot independently verify the article's detailed content, time, and location. Starch person disease emerges in China. Chongqing reports first diagnosis. In mainland China, a rare and unusual disease has recently been discovered. The Chongqing Daily reported on April 6 that the first affiliated hospital of Chongqing Medical University's cardiac amyloidosis team diagnosed the first case of wild-type transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, ATTRCM, in Chongqing. The report indicates that the patient, surnamed Zhang, is 93 years old and has a history of high blood pressure for many years. In recent years, he has gradually developed symptoms such as palpitations and shortness of breath after exercise, as well as intermittent edema in his lower limbs. Due to his blood pressure dropping too quickly after taking antihypertensive medication, Zhang had to stop taking it. Doctors at the first affiliated hospital of Chongqing Medical University diagnosed the patient with heart failure based on his medical history. Later, a further examination confirmed that he was suffering from wild-type ATTRCM, or rare heart disease with two subtypes, genetic mutation and wild type. Genetic mutation type usually occurs between 50 to 60 years old, while wild type has an increasing incidence rate with age and commonly affects males over 75 years old. In China, there are currently only about 400 confirmed cases of genetic mutation type ATTRCM and fewer than 50 cases of the wild type. Dr. Luo Shuxin, director of the Department of Cardiology at the first affiliated hospital of Chongqing Medical University, said that because ATTRCM doesn't have specific clinical symptoms and affects many organs, it is often misdiagnosed or not diagnosed at all, and most patients don't live more than 3 years after being diagnosed. The possible course and outcome of this disease are extremely poor. According to the Epoch Times, the team has diagnosed 12 cases of ATTRCM so far. Wuhan University Hospital also diagnosed the first case of wild-type amyloidosis in Hubei province in November 2022. Amyloidosis is a rare disease, and the only drug that relieves the symptoms of amyloidosis is chlorambucil. It was added to the National Medical Insurance Catalog in December 2021. Funds are flowing out of China. During the 3-year COVID-19 pandemic, while other regions of the world were in lockdown, China continued to export, resulting in a trade surplus and net capital inflow, with almost no outflow. Now, the situation has changed. During the last quarter of 2022, China experienced its first net outflow of funds in over 2 years. Export. Foreign capital inflow mainly comes from exports. China's exports decreased in the fourth quarter of last year, with December's exports down 9.9% year-on-year. Containers are piling up in Chinese ports, and this trend is accelerating, with reports that some ports have containers piled up to 6 or 7 layers high. The Chinese government has confirmed this but attributed it to normal market adjustments rather than a decline in exports. However, the data tells a different story, with exports declining by 6% to 7% in the first 2 months of 2023. Foreign direct investment, FDI. FDI is another major source of capital inflow, but it decreased significantly last year. Some of it is due to rising interest rates in the United States, which attracted funds away from China and into the US. The COVID restrictions put in place by the Chinese government also made the business environment more unpredictable and risky. The general slowdown of the economy, with GDP growth dropping from double digits to 3% in 2022, and rising wages have made China a much less attractive place for foreign manufacturers to invest. For some time, China has been gradually moving away from low-end manufacturing towards higher wages, with average wages now rising to over $12,000 per year. This is about 3 times the average wage in Vietnam or Indonesia and almost 5 times that of India. Faced with various impediments, foreign firms are seeking ways to diversify their development outside of China, resulting in a 50% decrease in outward foreign direct investment, which involved expanding or establishing new businesses abroad, compared to 2019. Also, foreign direct investment in inbound tourism has dropped by 78%, while it has dropped by 63% in both the food and financial services sectors. Other Asian countries, like India, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Vietnam, on the other hand, have gotten more money from foreign investment after it was moved. This year, foreign direct investment is expected to rise by 30% in the Asia-Pacific area. More money is flowing out of China. According to the Epoch Times, Chinese citizens are once again permitted to study, work, do business, and travel abroad, and they typically bring money with them. Also, wealthy Chinese people have been moving to Singapore for a while because they want better education and opportunities for their children, want to pay less taxes, or don't like how Xi Jinping is running the country. Now that China and Singapore have reopened, this trend is expected to intensify. Thus far in 2023, China's foreign direct investment has increased, with most of it flowing into high-tech manufacturing. But business confidence is still low, and last year the average profits of foreign companies in China went down by 10%. The European Union Chamber of Commerce in China has emphasized that foreign companies have not entirely left China, but they are isolating their Chinese operations as they shift new investments to other Asian countries. Due to current political tensions, Taiwanese companies' investment in China has reached a 3-year low, and it is uncertain if this investment will return. The U.S. chip ban has also compelled companies to relocate at least some production to countries that are not subject to the restrictions. Beijing tightens restrictions on capital outflows. To curb capital outflows, Beijing is implementing measures such as legislation that prevents some brokerage firms from opening new accounts to transfer Chinese funds into foreign stocks. The China Securities Regulatory Commission has also issued regulations to prevent illegal cross-border securities business, closing a loophole that citizens could use to move money out of China. Although officials maintain that policies have not changed, foreigners and Chinese retailers have reported difficulties withdrawing or transferring funds from Chinese banks. For example, Mark Mobius, a professional investor, said he couldn't get money out of his HSBC bank account in Shanghai. While the People's Bank of China has maintained low interest rates to stimulate the economy, these rates make Chinese bonds unattractive, particularly as U.S. rates continue to rise. Even though the goal for GDP growth this year is 5%, it looks like low interest rates will keep foreign investors away from the government bond market, and a drop in exports will keep foreign capital from coming in. Moreover, as Beijing tightens restrictions on capital outflows, it will further decrease the appeal of foreign direct investment in China. China's Shandong-class aircraft carrier is lurking in the southeastern waters of Taiwan, and experts say it's tantamount to suicide. On April 5, during a meeting between the Taiwan President, Tsai Ing-wen, and the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, Kevin McCarthy, the Chinese Communist Party's aircraft carrier, the Shandong, crossed the Bashi Strait between the Philippines and Taiwan, entering the waters southeast of Taiwan to conduct so-called Pacific Ocean training. On that same day, Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense announced that it used joint intelligence monitoring measures to monitor the Shandong aircraft carrier fleet's movements. Minister of National Defense Chiu Kuo-cheng said that the U.S. Navy's Nimitz aircraft carrier was also in Taiwan's eastern waters, about 400 nautical miles away. He said that the Nimitz is not here because of the Shandong aircraft carrier, but the two situations are related. Richard D. Fisher Jr., a senior researcher at the International Assessment and Strategy Center, a U.S. think tank, told Voice of America, VOA, the PLA's reaction is very strange. Sending the Shandong aircraft carrier is certainly worth noting, but in military terms, it's ridiculous. Sending the Shandong and its 1,500 Chinese crew members to the deepest part of the Pacific Ocean off the southeastern coast of Taiwan is tantamount to suicide. That is the ideal combat zone for U.S. nuclear attack submarines. Fisher added, if the carrier takes any action against the people of Taiwan, it will sink quickly. I sympathize with the poor sailors on Shandong. This move is really reckless. Chinese leaders, including Xi Jinping himself, may think that the Taiwanese people are afraid, but they are just living their lives. The military activities of the CCP are of great concern to the U.S. and Japan. The Global Taiwan Institute's deputy director, John Dotson, questions whether the deployment was pre-planned or if it was sent to the Cross-Island Chain area to express Beijing's displeasure with Tsai Ing-wen's visit. Dotson told VOA, I suspect that this deployment was planned earlier, and Beijing is now taking advantage of the opportunity to promote it. Ben Lewis, an independent defense analyst specializing in research and development of the Chinese military and Taiwan security affairs, told VOA that since Tsai Ing-wen left for New York, 25 Chinese military planes have been detected in Taiwan's air defense identification zone, which is lower than the average level of about 35 planes in 7 days. He also thinks that in the next 2 weeks or so, we will see a significant increase in highly publicized maritime and air exercises. However, he thinks that this increase will be smaller than the reaction to Pelosi's trip to Taiwan last August. Why doesn't the CCP dare to retaliate? According to expert Xing Zhishuan, there are 3 factors that may be leading Beijing to maintain relative restraint. First, Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan took place before the 20th National Congress of the CCP, and Xi Jinping and his confidants believed it necessary to respond decisively to win re-election. Second, Beijing is currently striving to enhance its status as a global peacebuilder. This includes its ambiguous global security initiative and diplomatic efforts related to Xi Jinping's agreement with Iran-Saudi Arabia. Additionally, former Taiwan Kuomintang President Ma Ying-jeou is visiting the mainland, and the CCP is cultivating the leading figures of the Kuomintang. As a result, they may not want to exacerbate the conflict and weaken the Kuomintang. According to Ben Lewis, the CCP's proposed peace plan is already a dead end for Moscow and Kiev. If there is an overreaction to the Tsai McCarthy meeting, it may further deteriorate U.S.-China relations. Raymond Kwa, director of the WHO-Taiwan Policy Initiative at RAND Corporation, told VOA that if Xi Jinping is too provocative this time, it could backfire. It could strengthen Taiwanese opposition to reunification with China, as well as cause the international community, particularly Japan, Australia, and the United Kingdom, to view China as an aggressor and provide more support for Taiwan. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. We will keep a report on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest video, and thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.